Hello, hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hi,
Guto.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for my delay.
how are you today?
I miss you, Fernando. I miss you yesterday.
Yeah, we
I
miss
Yeah,
miss you
him,
so
yes.
much.
I was very sad yesterday.
I love to stay
Not
with you.
not sad, but I was angry. You know
Pissed
that.
off.
I am hungry all the time.
Do you know that? Do you know that movie? I don't know the name in English, but a Fury Day, um dia de fúria.
Yes, I know it.
Yesterday I
It-
was in that day. If I had a gun, I should I should try to hit someone.
You,
Oh,
ju you just could describe my day. All days is the same.
oh my God. Okay, so we are here for our third meeting of Leah's Reading Club, second cycle. We are reading The Braid. And today we'll be talking about chapters 13 to 21, I guess, sort of this
Yes,
part of the book, right? So let's revisit the events in the story. What have you learned about each of the three women so far? So if you could choose one of the characters to tell me about what has happened to this character in this part of the book. Good. Can you choose a character to start?
I would like to put the three characters in the same page. I think the strength of the all that three women is the same.
Mm-hmm.
We have some different scenarios, but the strength of that
Mm-hmm.
each with that woman is the same. In
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, we can change the woman from his reality, her realities, and
And
everyone could change the same path to follow his her her objectives, their objectives.
mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, they follow the same path, even though they are in different
In
realities.
completely different situations.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Fernando, what happens to Smita? What have you learned about Smita?
since from the first chapter,
Now, from this part,
this part,
she has
uh,
made a decision.
yes, she decided to leave their village
Mm-hmm.
with Lalita, and she she thought about it. She talked with her husband, but she decided alone to go out to go out from the village. And
Mm-hmm.
she get back the money that she gave for the brahmans to to put Lalita in the school,
Okay.
and went out in a trip to escape from the village. I think she's going to the south,
Mm-hmm.
and she got a truck, a truck for the the big city near on the village, and then she got the train to the south
Mm-hmm.
with
Okay.
no money, with no clothes, with a little
No
money,
food, no
no
food.
food. Yes,
His food was eaten by some
So,
kind of animals, or I don't
mhm.
know exactly.
Rodents, maybe rodents.
Yes, probably.
Yeah. And yeah, and poor Smita goes through a succession of events that are kind of obstacles to her. So first, she hid her bike with the food that she would take on her trip. And when she got there to pick her bike, she would go to the truck or to the bus by bike, right?
Mhm.
And the food was eaten. Then when she got on the bus or on the truck, it was
She
Full.
missed his bicycle.
somebody stole her bicycle. So she
She
put it,
wants to change his bicycle for some food.
yes, exactly. She was expecting to sell
To
her bike,
trade. Uh-huh.
yeah, for some food. So she didn't have food, she didn't have bike. All she had was a bottle of water.
Water.
When she gets to the station, she is tricked into spending all her money, all the extra money she had to buy a ticket that it was anybody could buy for the lowest price. But the man tricked her, and remember, she had to sleep
Mhm.
overnight. She had
In
to
the
spend
tracks.
the night on the train station because the train would only leave the next day.
Yes.
Yeah. So she has, it's like, it's kind of, how can I say?
A
She's being tested.
succession, a
She's being
succession of
events, yeah, to test her perseverance all the time, all the
Mhm.
time. Okay. And what else have you
Fernando Pitanga, did you read the book until the end or not
No,
yet?
no, no, not yet.
I think I think it will be more productive with the group who can participate that the learning reading could read with more velocity, we could read with more
faster?
faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a little esporro for you, okay?
So
Oh, well, but
uh,
he did his
I'm
homework.
not I'm not a reader, you know, I have
I am not reader too.
no.
Fernando Pitanga, I was just making an exercise and make up my mind when we studied the same classes.
Yes.
I read the book, I read all the book.
Yeah.
You read the first chapter,
Oh, really?
No, no,
the middle of the
no.
book, and the end, the last chapter, and you read the lap of the book. Your grade is all the time best than my grades.
Ah.
And I wrote
I didn't accept this.
and I
Ah.
and I and I
I
used
had a problem until today. I had a problem with it.
and I used to read the resume.
The
Do you
summary,
remember the
the
summary?
summary.
Exactly.
Do you
Yes.
remember that series, that book series Para Gostar de Ler?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Borboleta Ática and something like
I
that.
know.
O Escara
Sequestro
Velho do
do
Diabo and
Diabo, yes,
so on.
yes.
Yeah, I remember this
All
one
the
as
time,
well.
that guy has the grade
Mm-hmm.
higher, much
Mm-hmm.
higher than mine. And I read
Uh-huh.
all the book. I hate
Okay.
it.
Well, but he read what he had to read for today. I mean, he listened to the audiobook, right, Fernando?
Yes, and I didn't get some things. I didn't get that he was tricked by a man in the train station.
Ah,
And
you didn't
yes,
get
I
that?
I I got yeah, her bike was stolen. Yes, he got it, but I didn't get the man who tricked her in the station, and that that her food was eaten by a rodent.
Yeah.
I knew that she arrived
Oh,
in the train station with no food, with only a bottle of water, and some mm, woman gave her a banana and
She met a woman.
some
Yes.
biscuit for Lalita and
Mm-hmm.
a tea for her.
she gave
Mm-hmm.
her some foods, yes.
Yes, that's it. Okay. Yeah.
By the way, Leah,
Mm.
sorry for my capacity to confuse your teaching.
No, that
I
it's supposed to be a discussion like this. Don't worry,
I
go on.
I so I forget what I would like to say. What? Sorry.
You were going to ask me something.
Uh, oh, I remember. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was I saw the last class you uploading the meeting class or meeting rooms or
In the
something
classroom,
like
Google
that
Classroom.
in the Google Classroom. And what I was surprising with my development
Really?
when I saw the first class I participated and I saw the last class I participated. It's obvious how can I grow up in my English. I am so satisfied about that.
Oh, I thank you. I'm happy about that too. And it's very nice that you can see your progress. And I
Yeah,
don't know if you have noticed, you can read the
I
transcription of what you say when you
no,
watch the
I
video.
didn't know that resource.
No?
I have a doubt. I adapt with you.
Why?
I assume the compromise to make a little history about my
Okay.
participation in your English, but I didn't do
Uh-huh.
yet.
That's because you haven't shaved your beard yet. You told me that
Yes,
you would.
but I love my bird.
Yes. You can record the video with the beard, no problem.
I probably will do that.
Okay, right. What about, so since we are talking about what is Smita, and you mentioned the woman that she met in the train. So at the train station, she has a conversation with a woman named Lakshmama, who is on her way to Vrindavan, the city of white widows. So Lakshmama has lost her husband. So her husband died, and she's a widow now. And she's traveling along with her sons, and she asks Smita whether she had a husband, and whether Lalita had a father or a brother to travel with them because they were traveling alone. Do you
Yeah.
remember what Smita told her?
It was
Sanita told her she was going to meet her husband at
Mm-hmm.
some place.
Yes. Why do you think she lied to the woman? And how does the conversation with Lakshmama affect Smita?
Probably in her society was more important to have someone to we stay with her, and she was how can I say, when the people is not, uma pessoa que estava insegura, she was
Insecure.
unsafe, she was
Insecure.
insecure to tell her the reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, she was. So, and Fernando, do you remember what Lakshmama told Lalita about losing her husband? What happens to a woman who loses her husband?
Because a woman don't belongs to herself. All the
Doesn't belong.
yes, doesn't belong. All the women's belongs to a husband.
Yes. And if they have something before they get married, they give everything they have to the husband. And when the husband dies, she doesn't get the things back. And
Mhm.
I remember a sentence that sounded very strong to me. She said, when you lose your husband, you cease to exist. You
Mhm.
stop to exist. You are nobody anymore. You are
It's a
only a
nice place. I think, in my opinion, it's a nice place to live. It's
yeah.
so democratic.
Yes. So you cease to exist. You are nobody. And the family rejected her.
One
So
minute,
that's
please.
why, that's why she was leaving the place. Do you remember that?
I'm sorry.
Do you remember that she was leaving her original place because the family rejected her because she doesn't have a husband anymore?
I didn't get this.
No, so she's moving to the city of White Widows. So it's
Okay.
a place where the women are accepted.
Uh-huh.
With women who have lost their husbands, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she has two children. And and Smita was traveling alone. So um, do you think that affected her because she gave up on her husband when she decided to leave? She stopped being married, let's say. Yeah, she resigned from her marriage.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know if Nagarajan will ever meet her again. She tells Lalita that they will meet him again, but
she
the
she
truth
doesn't
is
know.
she doesn't know. She wants to give hope to Lalita, but the future is uncertain. And so do you think that affected her? Do you think that may have affected her or
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Mhm, mhm. And I also thought that the scene where they are on the bus and Nagarajan
Is
sees
running.
her is running after the bus and
Uh-huh.
Lalita is shouting. So that
The
was so touching. I almost cried when I read this scene, you know,
Mhm.
so strong. And uh, yeah, okay. What about Julia? What happened to Julia in this part? Do you remember?
Mhm.
Julia
She's she's starting a relation with I don't know the man.
Kamal.
Kamal. She made she made she, she made love with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that she doesn't know much about him, about her story, her life,
His life.
his life, but I think she's falling in love with him,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
now she discovered uh, that the family business is broken,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes. So
she's think,
she
she's thinking to marry a rich man to save her family business.
is this her
Yeah,
plan?
exactly.
Is this her plan?
No, no, no. It's the mother's plan.
Yes, it's
It's
her.
her mother's plan.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It's her mother's plan to save the at least the house where they live, right? Because what's the name of the man? Gino. Gino comes from a rich family, so he would make a good husband for her, and he would make up for the losses they have at the moment. Um, but do you think, Fernando, because Guto already know, do you think she will give up uh, Kamal and marry Gino?
I think as she's a very strong girl. I don't think that she will give up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. And there is also a very beautiful scene when she goes to the bathroom and she looks at the bathtub and she sees a spider inside the bathtub.
Mhm.
Do you remember that? Good. And the spider is trapped in the bathtub because it cannot go out. Whenever it tries to crawl up the white surface of the
The tiles
yeah, no, I guess it's porcelain, I don't know, of the bathtub, it goes down. So the spider is there just waiting
for
for,
the death.
yeah. And she felt like this in this moment. She felt like she had no way out. She was trapped inside the bathtub like the spider was. Even though she was trying to go up, she couldn't. Do you remember that, Goto?
Yes, but I would like to know how can I say it in English when I
Mm-hmm.
have quando eu tenho uma lembrança que não está consolidada, é uma lembrança que está pulverizada,
I
algo
have a
disperso.
vague memory of that.
Yes, exactly. I have
I have a vague
a
memory.
vague memory of that.
Mm-hmm. The opposite of a vague memory is a vivid memory. I have a vivid
Vivid
memory
memory.
and I have a vague memory of that. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. And remember that her family is very conservative.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
she kept her relationship with Kamal secret because she knew that her family wouldn't approve of her relationship. He
I
comes
think
from,
it is not only her family, the entire Sicilian society will approve.
sure, in the entire society, of course. Yeah, so he is not from the same religion she is. She's not a
Same
Catholic.
color, she
The
had a
same
black skin and
color.
something like that.
Mhm. And long hair. She had never seen a man with
With
such
long
long
hair.
hair. Remember that? So, but at the same time, her relationship with Kamal is very beautiful, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yes, it's a strong relationship.
It's a
It's a
strong,
very strong relationship. It's like some of Memórias da Pele.
yes, yes. And there is this skin thing that
Yes,
the
yes.
contact and it's the way the writer writes about it is very beautiful too, right? And they escape every day. They go to this cave in on the beach during her lunchtime. That's where they meet
And
and
make love so
make
much.
love. Yeah.
In the cave, in the
In the
cave.
cave. Kamal doesn't talk much.
Fernando, could you
Uh,
imagine you in the Sicilia in the cave making love? It's a wonderful place to make love.
It's a secret place.
Could you realize that? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And he doesn't talk much about himself, but he talks about his country and the history of his people. And Julia is fascinated by that. She's not worried about knowing much about himself, right? It's something I would say
Deixa a
uh,
vida me levar,
from
vida
an no,
leva eu.
I would say from another uh life. I don't know, life. I don't know. Okay. And what about Sarah?
Sarah,
What happens to Sarah? So
I think she's facing something very hard for her because uh, people discover in the office that she's sick,
Mhm,
and she wouldn't talk for anyone about the private life, but
mhm,
someone discovered. So everybody, actually,
mhm,
everybody discovered that
mhm,
she is sick, and now uh, people are feeling sorrow for him, for her
mhm.
she had betrayed for her
assistant.
pupil, yeah, her assistant.
She was betrayed. Mhm.
Yes.
And
Because
I
she
think
met her at the oncology ward at the hospital because the secretary, Inês, was taking, I don't know if she's a secretary or a junior. She
Não,
was
isso é,
a,
como é que se diz estagiário em
a
inglês?
intern.
trainee or an
Yes,
intern, an
she
intern.
is a training
Yeah, and she was taking her mom to the
to
hospital.
the oncologist hospital.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so she doesn't tell her children about the disease. She knows that her daughter Hannah, who is 12 years old, is very sensitive and she can understand things. So she decides not to tell them right now. She doesn't tell her father and her brother about that either. And we learned that her mother died of cancer. Do you remember that? We
No.
have
Yes.
so her
Yeah,
mother died.
I didn't remember if she tells any time during the book about the age of the twins she had.
Her twins are younger.
Yeah,
I
they
think,
didn't tell about her ages,
yeah, no, I
about
don't
their
think it's
ages.
um, maybe 4, I guess. or 5, I don't know. The girl is 12. The girl is
Yes,
12.
I made a resume and I write down this. The child of the daughter of Samita,
Is 6.
Lalita has 6,
Is
and
6.
the oldest
Daughter.
daughter of Sarah has 12, but I didn't remember to write down how is the age of the twins.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's mentioned. Yeah, I don't remember either. And so once she's betrayed by Inez, she senses that something has changed in the office, right? It's as if Inez had stabbed her in the back, to stab with a knife.
Yes,
In the
I
back.
know. I know so well how that expression, the meaning of that expression.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm
Always I
sorry.
am stabbed on my backs.
On your back.
Yes.
And she says that being sick in her job means being vulnerable, means
Vulnerable.
being fragile, unreliable, not to be counted upon. And it's like, where is it? She makes a correlation with being untouchable, right? Being untouchable, like Smita. So we have another connection here, with Smita. And what else? She begins her treatment at the hospital, and she says the worst side effect of the treatment is isolation and discrimination. She was being pulled out, yeah, and she was being.
She didn't manage the hair losses during that kind of section.
Sorry, can you repeat? She
The
didn't?
hair lossing during
No, her hair is gonna fall out later on, and not in this part, not in this part yet. And the ambush, I wrote another passage. The ambush, a emboscada, was invisible. So she was caught in the ambush, right? And what happened? Remember that she was expecting a promotion. She was expecting to be appointed
partner, yes, a partner
yeah.
of her the head of the officer.
Johnson, yes.
Yes.
And who is appointed to be Johnson's partner?
I didn't remember the name of the guy, but it's a male who works with her, but that guy is not that there is any projection, there is any relevance until she until everyone knows she has a cancer.
Yeah, and he didn't like her. He was
Yeah,
envious of
exactly.
her. It's Gary. Gary Cursed. Gary Cursed was like a vampire.
Yes, I saw her describing that as a vampire.
And when she learns about that, she thinks that's the end of my career. There is no way back. That's the end of my career, because she was expecting to be the partner. And when he is appointed partner, she said, She realizes that it's the end. Okay. Right. That's
I was thinking exactly at the moment. I think the most important division of that characters is the point I will try to put here.
Mhm,
For Samita, the main importance is to live with dignity, with some
mhm.
kind of dignity.
Yes.
But for Sarah, she has a great, como é que eu digo, ambição? She had a
Ambition.
great ambition for
Mhm,
power, for being invincible, or
mhm.
something like
I
that.
think
Yes.
to be well succeed.
Mhm,
Exactly. Como é que eu posso colocar isso em português? Eu vejo isso de maneira muito clara, neoliberalista, ou
uhum,
seja, a necessidade de alguém que tem tudo o que precisa, mas necessita demonstrar que tem mais do que tem, e alguém que não tem nada e briga por ter alguma coisa. I think this
mm,
is that.
mhm. Yeah, do you see the same way, Fernando?
Um, I don't think I think she lived all her life to be a well succeeded woman,
Suc-
and
suc-
now
A successful
a
woman.
successful woman, and now she's watching her house of cards
Uh,
fall.
Disable.
mhm. Yes,
I think
so falling to pieces.
not a house of cards, but all the things that she fight for all their life, she she all the time
Is
put the prioritize her
Professional life in
yes,
detriment to her private life.
yes, her
mhm.
marriage
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
alive with the
She
children.
had two husbands. She had
Mhm.
she had three children that she, how can I say esconder in English?
She
Her
hid.
Hide.
pregnancy.
Uh-huh. She
Yeah,
hid her.
she hide her pregnancy.
Mhm.
It's
To
a very
hide,
confusing. She
yeah,
hide her pregnancy.
hid the past. She hid her.
She hid her pregnancy. That kind of person with a lot of problems for sure.
Yeah, she wants to prove to, I don't know, to
She is
society
a
that
superwoman being.
superwoman, yes, and she's fighting sexism in her career, right? She's an advocate for the cause, feminist cause.
Yeah, she
Okay.
thinks it's possible to change the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Julia and Kamal come from wildly different backgrounds. What do you think unites them?
The passion for reading.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not exactly. They need you to author. I think it's something like respect for the human beings.
Mm-hmm.
The first connection with they is during her is during his I
He's
don't know
being
how to speak
arrested.
in English. Yes, he was arrested and she was shocked about that the way that the policy was, the carabinieri
Mm-hmm.
has took him with her, with their desire. I think it's more.
Just because he was wearing a turban on his head
Yes, exactly. I think it's
in
more.
the procession. Yeah. So she felt sorry for him. She felt that outrageous. She didn't agree with the police attitude.
Mhm.
Okay. And
But I
when
think that asking what I think that unit them, I think
unite?
the unite them is the difference because they are
Mm-hmm.
different.
Yes, that could also be.
Uh-huh.
When Julia learns of her father's death, she remembers a conversation in which he had mentioned that the Sicilian tradition of cascatura was disappearing because she was in shock. She didn't know that the business was going down the drain. But then she remembers this conversation when he said that the Sicilian tradition of cascatura was disappearing. Modern life, he had told her. And how does Julia balance tradition and modernity, both at work and in her personal life?
I couldn't answer that question, but
Yeah, I
it's
don't
a
know how
wonderful
to.
question. It's a wonderful question. I couldn't answer that question.
Remember, she was the only one of the three daughters of the Lanfredi, Pietro Lanfredi, who wanted to follow in her father's footsteps and continue the business. That's tradition, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
tradition. Um, but at the same time, she, and this is, I think Fernando doesn't know that yet. She will find a modern way of saving her father's
Sure, sure, sure.
business, right? And she will go against the mother's because the mother will say, no, that's not possible to do
The
that.
Sicilian people didn't like the Sicilian people likes her like her Sicilian peoples.
Mhm. So yeah. So I think she moves from one side to the other, from tradition and modernity in a very skillful way because she has new ideas, but she keeps the tradition as well, right? Being in charge of her father's work. And in her personal life, well, she
Sorry.
has secret. She has a secret life, love life.
Mm-hmm.
um, there is a woman, the oldest woman who works in the shop says,
La
"Don't
nonna.
marry." La Nonna says, "Don't get married."
Uh-huh.
And I guess for this traditional society, this is very modern, right?
Mm-hmm.
A woman mm, not wanting to have a husband, I don't know.
Leah, did you touch in the point I didn't was reflecting about it, but
Mhm.
for me is clear now. She had some vergonha
She
for
was
him. She had some
ashamed.
shame. She
She was
had some
ashamed of
shame of her partner. I think she had
Kamal. Do you
some
think
shames.
she was
Sh-
embarrassed?
Yes, I think she had some shame of her partner.
Do you
She
think
didn't. She didn't has the
the
how can I
courage?
say orgulho.
Right.
She tried to hide him behind her her
Mm-hmm.
her
Or work? No.
not to work behind atrás da imagem dela. Ela não queria ter ele vinculado à imagem dela. Eu acho que ele estava mais como um personagem colateral do
Mm-hmm.
que quando estava de forma privada, ele era o personagem
Mm,
principal, mas quando ele estava de forma
okay.
plural, ele estava relegado a um personagem secundário. Era uma coisa mais carnal a
That's
relação.
more to the end of the book, or
I
not?
don't know exactly.
No. Okay. Because he becomes public. He becomes public when and Fernando, you're gonna see this in the
Mhm,
final
mhm.
part because uh, so she leaves a letter to him saying that she cannot see him again because she has
She
accepted
was, yeah.
her
She
mother's
probably will
decision,
marry with that rich
yes,
guy.
to save the family. And
Yes.
he at night he goes back to her house. He knocks at her window.
She loud her name and
Yes,
she was so afraid who
and
someone could hear him
mhm, mhm,
loud her name.
yes, but he comes with a solution to the problem. He
Yes,
comes,
but
and he will be her partner in the business. So I think that's when he becomes public to the rest of the family, right? But they don't have a
yes.
relationship publicly.
But well, no, it's about the future. But isn't he a poor man?
We don't know.
Probably yes.
Yes,
Probably
probably yes.
he is a worker guy. They didn't live with some kind of money. He didn't need to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but then he has an idea, Fernando, to save the business, and Julia thinks it's a good idea,
Okay.
and they start working together. And they don't have a public relationship, love relationship,
Mhm.
right? I haven't reread the rest of the book, but from what I remember, I don't think they become a couple in the sense of boyfriend and girlfriend to the family. They work together.
Mhm.
Am I right, Goto?
Yes,
Yeah. So yeah, maybe you're right when you say that she wants to hide him as a lover.
exactly. She has some shame of her.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And in the depths of her despair, Sarah thinks of herself with cancer as untouchable,
Mhm.
relegated to the margins of society, like Smita. We saw this in the first chapter. Do you think this is an accurate description for what she faces and the way she's being treated by her colleagues? Or do you think she's being exaggerated?
I think is exaggerating.
Mhm. Why do you say so?
Uh, I couldn't find in the book any action of the partner or the or of the another member of the office that they act like that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you, Goto?
I'm sorry, during your speaking, I have some troubles in my connection. I didn't get it.
Can you repeat, Fernando?
I couldn't find in the book something that justify the people in the office are treating her uh, as untouchable. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's something from her head.
Okay.
You
So
are
it's
you are referring to some of the three characters.
to Sarah.
Sarah.
No, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't
So
have that.
you think she's overreacting. Do you think she's
Yes.
Exactly.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Yes. So well done. Would you like to say, oops, something else? What are your predictions? Oh, Fernando's predictions and based on the events and developments, what are your predictions for the remainder of the novel? How do
Mm.
you anticipate the characters' stories? Uh,
I prefer the happy endings, you know. But I'm not
okay.
sure
Me too. I
about
love the happy enders.
Uh-huh.
but I'm not sure about Sarah. I think Sarah maybe will die or something else. I don't know. And
Uh-huh. Okay. Mhm.
maybe Smita Ka-
Lalita,
and her husband
Lalita.
and her
Ah,
husband
Nagarajan.
Narajan maybe can match each other.
Meet each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know
Okay. Mm-hmm.
about Julia.
I remember that Guto mentioned that you had the feeling that it could have been better
More.
developed, right, Guto? The
Sorry, could you
stories.
repeat?
I remember
So,
that last meeting you mentioned that you had this feeling that the writer could have delved into the
yes,
stories of the character
for
deeply,
sure,
more deeply, in the end,
for sure.
Okay.
I miss that kind of, how can I say, when
Closure.
people has no, when people has take care with his work. I think
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have the kindness with his work.
Mm-hmm.
He should put some more.
Depth, profundidade, depths
Yes,
in a character's
in
life.
his words. Yes,
Okay.
she had
Mm-hmm.
a lot of material to explore that.
Yeah. So you, because in the beginning we had this feeling that she was going deeper
Yeah,
and deeper
yes,
and deeper, and in the
yes,
end it was
yes. In the
shallow,
end of the,
shallow.
oh, how I will permit me to speak in português. Ele terminou o livro e não finalizou.
Ah, okay. That's a good one. Okay, the story ended, but the book ended, but the story didn't.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I think it's time for us to start the next chapter. Let's do the shared reading
Lia,
together.
I think we need to create two kind of reading books.
Uh-huh.
You have to kind of read dynamic reading books and regular reading books. I
Uh-huh.
think it's more profitable
Uh-huh.
when you could read all the books and discussing the entire book during.
In one session.
Yes, yes. I think
Okay.
it's, for me, it's the best option.
Uh-huh. So are you saying that, for example, if we had one meeting at the end, or maybe two, one in the beginning and one in the end?
Yes, two meetings during the month. It's so will be wonderful. Maybe another one to make a resume of some different opinions. At least three.
Okay.
At most three.
Okay. At most. Three
At
at most.
most three in the month.
Okay, good. Okay, so I think it's good feedback for the next ones, right? And I'm gonna think about that as well. Okay. And Fernando, how do you feel about it?
I'm enjoying this way, reading and discussing.
Okay. All right. So let's see. We are going to, let me stop sharing, and I want to share my Kindle.
By the way, Fernando, you didn't like my idea.
Can you see my Kindle page?
Yes.
Okay. So let's pick up from here. Just a moment. So there is this, okay, this poem, right? This morning, one of the strands broke. It seldom happens, but it happened today. It's a disaster, a tidal wave on a microscopic scale that wrecks the work of several days. I think of Penelope on Ithaca, then tirelessly reworking each day what she destroys in the night. I must start all over again. It will be a beautiful piece. The thought consoles me. Never lose the thread. I must hold on. Start over and go on. So do you remember that we talked about these poems being the process of writing? So do you know Penelope, this character from the Odyssey? Do you remember? No?
No.
Her husband went on a trip, and if I'm not mistaken, her husband went on a trip, and she didn't know if he had died or not. So she was waiting for him to come back from the battle. And she would have to remarry soon to find another husband. But she said, no, I will only remarry when I finish my sewing. She sewed during the night, during the day. And what did she do? During the day, she would sew, and during the night, she would unsew, unravel her work, because she said, I will only remarry when the thing is done, when the blanket is done. I think she was sewing a blanket. And so she did that because she didn't want to remarry, because she had expectations that her husband would come back, right, from the battle. And that's why, so maybe she Maybe, Guto, your impression. So she said, this morning, one of the strands broke. And my interpretation, one story broke. And she has to start all over again. So maybe the feeling that you had that she didn't finish the story lies there. I don't know. What do you think?
How can I say? I think it's during the reading club, for sure. That this is the best book of reading
Uh-huh.
during our club. But I
Mm-hmm.
think, in my opinion, you need to improve the speed. We need the books.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Okay.
more profitable when we read the book and
When we
discuss
progress
about the
faster.
yes, about the entire book during two
Mm-hmm.
or at most three.
3. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's move on then to Smita. Smita, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh, India. Smita wakes with a start on the station platform where she had dozed off, where she had fallen asleep. With Lalita curled tight against her. In the first light of dawn, hundreds of people are running, carrying everything. Ah, by the way, there was hustle and bustle in one of the chapters. Remember yesterday I told you about this expression, hustle and bustle of the city, the movement, o vucu-vucu da cidade. Do you remember that?
Yes, exactly.
There was this in one of the chapters. I remember hearing this. Sorry. So let's go. So frantically, Smita wakes her small daughter. Come, the train is here, quickly. Hurriedly, she gathers their things she has slapped on their bag to protect it from thieves. Then clutches her daughter's hand and hurries towards the third-class carriages. The crowd throngs the platform, a great wave of people pushing and elbowing and trampling on one another's feet. Shouts of "Chalo, Chalo" ring out everywhere. Come on, come on. Smita grabs the handle of the carriage door. The crowd presses hard all around them. She clings on tight. She tries to get Lalita on board before her. She's afraid the little girl will suffocate in the crush and desperate passengers. Suddenly she's seized with doubt and turns to the gaunt man beside her. Is this the train to Chennai? She shouts over the din. No, he replies. This one's going to Jaipur. You shouldn't trust the signs. They are often wrong. Smita pulls Lalita back and fights her way through the crowd like a salmon swimming upriver. So another test for her. After several journeys back and forth across the station, a wealth of contradictory information and one vain attempt to ask a station official, Smith and Lalita find the train to Chennai at last. They climb into the blue sleeper class carriage. The dilapidated interior has no air conditioning. Cockroaches scuttle on the floor. Mother and daughter squirm their way into a packed carriage and find a tiny space on a bench seat. 20 people have already piled into the space that measures barely a few square meters. Overhead, more men and women occupy the narrow upper bunks. Their legs dangle in midair. their legs dangle in midair. It will be a long journey, over 2,000 kilometers, crammed in like this. Theirs is a local service, cheaper than the express. It trundles along slowly and stops everywhere. A journey across India, what madness, thinks Smita. The whole of humanity is on the move, piled one on top of the other, suffocating, exhausted in these third-class carriages. Everywhere there are families, babies, old people sitting on the floor or standing packed so tight they can barely move. The first hours of the journey pass without difficulty. Lalita is asleep. Smita dozes in a half-conscious, dreamlike state. Suddenly, the little girl wakes, desperate to use the toilet. Smita tries to make her way through with her daughter to the end of the carriage. It's a dangerous business, difficult not to trample the many passengers sitting on the floor. She takes care, but treads on someone by accident and earns a furious shouted tirade. They reach the toilet door to find it double locked. Smita tries to open it, bangs on it repeatedly with her fist. There is no point in trying, says an elderly, toothless woman with leathery, parchment, dry skin sitting on the floor nearby. They've been shut in there for hours. A whole family looking for somewhere they could sleep and sit down. They won't open up until the end of the line, everyone tells Smita. She hammers on the door, ordering then begging the family to come out. No point in shouting, says the old lady. Others have tried before you. There is nothing to be done. My daughter really needs to go, whispers Smita. The old toothless lady points to a corner of the carriage. Just tell her to go there, or wait for the next stop. Lalita looks paralyzed. She does not want to relieve herself in front of other passengers. She is only 6 years old, but already she has an acute sense of personal dignity. Smita makes it clear that she has no choice. They cannot risk getting off at the next stop. There will be too little time. At the previous station, one family was cut out. The platform was packed with people and they had been unable to get back on board the train. It had left without them, abandoning them in the middle of nowhere, in an unfamiliar station with no luggage and no money. Imagine that. Lalita shakes her head. She would rather wait. There will be a longer stop in an hour or two in Jabalpur. She will hold on until then. A foul smell fills the carriage as they make their way back to the bench. The mixed stench of urine and excrement. It's the same at every stop. For many of the townspeople, the edges of the railway lines are their toilet. Smita knows that smell all too well. It's the same anywhere. It knows no frontier. It ignores rank, caste, and wealth. She's used to it, but she holds her breath nonetheless, just as she did when making her rounds. She places a scarf over her nose and does the same for Lalita. Never again. This is her promise to herself. Never again to have to hold her breath, to breathe freely with dignity at last.
At last.
The train pulls away. The foul smell subsides, leaving the suffocating but less nauseous reek of cramped, sweaty bodies. Soon it will be midday. The heat is unbearable in the packed compartments with a single fan to stir the fetid air. Smita makes Lalita take some water and gulps a few mouthfuls herself. Can you imagine the situation?
Yes, I could, I could, I
Good,
could.
good. Maybe sometimes you found a train pooped, someone who pooped
Yeah,
in the
could
train
you
in
stop?
Rio de Janeiro.
Could you stop the recording? I would like to share with you uh, a personal experience.
Oh my God.
Did you finish? Did
Yeah,
you finish the recording?
no, 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 not yet. Just a moment.
When you finish, I will share my
Okay,
experience.
Okay,
all
in
right,
breve.
okay, yes. The
Uh-huh.
journey stretches out, dank and torpid. Some people are polishing their shoes. Others gaze out at the landscape through the half-open door and press against the barred window, hoping for some fresh air, when all that pours in is the hot breath of the tropics. A man makes his way through the train, reciting prayers and sprinkling water over the traveler's head as a sign of blessing. A beggar sweeps the carriage floor and asks for a few rupees for its upkeep. He tells his miserable tale to anyone who will listen. He was working in the fields with his family in the north when the rich farmers came looking for his father, who owed them money. They had beaten him, broken his limbs, and torn out his eyes, then dragged him away by the feet in front of his entire family. Lalita shudders at the horrific story. Smita scouts the beggar. He should go and sweep and tell his story somewhere else. There are children here. Beside her, a plump woman, soaked in sweat, talks about her journey to the temple in Tirupati to make an offering. Smita is roused from her torpor. The woman's son had fallen ill. The doctor said there was no hope. A healer had advised her to make a temple sacrifice, and her son had been healed. Today, she was on her way to give thanks to Vishnu for the miracle by placing wreath of flowers at the foot of his statue. To do so, she compelled the contravel. The god himself decides whether the path that leads to him is hard or painless. Night falls. In the carriage, people organize themselves to try to and get some semblance of rest. The bench seats fold out into couchettes, but sleeping is difficult nonetheless. Smita dozes off at last, hugging Lalita's tiny body tight beside the voluptuous woman. She thinks again about the promise she made to Vishnu before beginning her journey. She must keep her word. And so she makes a decision. There on the couchette, in the black of night, somewhere between the states of Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh. Tomorrow, she and Lalita will not continue their journey to Chennai. as she had planned. When the train stops at the station in Tirupati, they will get down and climb the holy mountain to pay homage to their god. With that thought, Smita feels suddenly at peace and falls deeply asleep. Yes, Vishnu is waiting for them. Her god is here at their side. Okay? All right. Let me stop. So, what a nightmare, right? What a nightmare. So good. I'm gonna stop recording right now. Just a moment. Stop recording.